RV.media.
Hello, listeners. This is Randy Adams on RV.media. Hey, we talk about RVs and camping and experience. What all do we do? I got Jace Pierce with me. We do a lot of buying and selling of RVs and just about anything. I buy trucks just in case you don't need to pull your trailer anymore. You go into an RV. I'll buy your truck. We'll buy your trailer. Hey, we'll even buy your towable car or vehicle, whatever you've got. Good morning, Jace. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's a little early this morning. I've been up since 4 o'clock with my little nephew. My brother, he works at the HEB, and he had to go in. He's one of the runs the meat market. Oh my gosh, I've been going crazy all morning, Randy.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the camping world because, hey, is it time to go? Springtime's here.
Yeah, you know what they're saying right now is that a lot of the campgrounds are going to be full up, so you need to make your reservations, a little bit ahead of time. I heard this one guy said they're about 8 months out, but it was a smaller park. But and that's one of the good things about what we're doing and creating on our RV.media website, Randy, is a list of the local RV parks within our listener area.
Well, and we heard about one RV park for sale. It's a little high on the price, not much. We'll work on that, but great investments. I'd buy a small RV park for myself. I love camping. Hey, like I mentioned last week, I love Guadalupe State Park. It's so convenient, so close, and a great people, great area, and you can be there in no time at all.
Yeah, speaking of which, our guest today, speaking of state parks, he was supposed to be calling in. He was out there at Big Bend, and I guess he's got real bad reception or something. He texted me a little while ago, said he's looking for an area. He may still call in. I don't know, Randy, but we're working on that. Did you know that there are over like 80 state parks in the state of Texas, Randy?
No, I didn't. That's a great number, isn't it?
Yeah, and how many of those have you been to? I know you've mentioned Guadalupe.
Well, I have a neighbor who has several ladies. They all go to a state park, usually, and they find state parks I've never even heard about and seen, and they come back and tell me all about the state park, where they hiked, where they had so much fun, and none of their husbands want to go, and it's a perfect fit for them, so they all bundle up together and take off and go camping, and then they come back, and then I think I mentioned last week also, there's ladies camping clubs that they travel together and they have a great time, and I had a neighbor, she also was in a club like that. She ended up selling her motorhome because she has horses, so she got living quarters, horse trailer, and so she just came back, I think, from Colorado several times, going up there, taking her horses, and really having a great time. So there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't hear about.
Yeah, and another thing that I've talked to is a couple of the guys that are, and I'll give a shout out to Scott. He was going fishing last week, and he gave us a call, and he had an RV he's wanting to get rid of, but more towards the fall, Randy. He said he'd call us then, but he said the fish were biting pretty good this time of the year, and I don't know, do you ever do any fishing there, Randy?
Oh yeah, I love to fish. Love it down at the coast. I had an office manager that worked for me, and she bought a camper from me, and she put it down at Port A, and her family were down there at least twice a month, and they left it down there. They just paid the monthly rent, and they had just the biggest time. They had a golf cart down there, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got several buddies of mine who keep campers down in Rockport, another great area.
And what do you think the biggest fish that you never caught, Randy? The one that snapped on. How big do you think that fish was?
I don't know.
You think it's 100 pounds?
Oh, it's a shark that was probably 300 or 400 pounds.
300 or 400 pounds? How bad? I mean, did it upset you after that line snap?
Well, no. Just the opportunity. I want the opportunity to have that fun and snap them. My ex-father-in-law, got a hold of a black drum, and it broke the rod.
Oh, wow.
It broke the rod, and we estimated it. We saw it before it broke the line, but we saw it, and it had to be a black drum somewhere around 80 pounds, but it actually broke the rod. So, there's some great fishing all down Rockport, Matagorda, Corpus Christi, all that area. And, life's short. We need to get out and spend some quality time enjoying what we've got on this earth and make sure that we get to see and do the things we want to do. We just got to stop and take that quality time.
Yeah, speaking of Matagorda and all this stuff, one time we went down there and got a guide and all that stuff, and we went fishing, and everybody put in, I think it was $50. Whoever catches the biggest fish gets the pot. And I think there was 6 or 7 of us or whatever, right? Well, we left at 6. Well, I stayed up drinking until 5:59, and I fell asleep on the boat. About 2:00 in the afternoon, I woke up, and I was just sweating. I was dehydrated. I drank water. And I'll tell you what, and they all hated me for this. I threw the fishing pole into the water. We were by one of those big old oil derricks,
right?
And it was making all this sound. I guess that's what woke me up. It wasn't the pole. The thing wasn't in the water for 3 seconds. I pulled up a 75-pound black tip shark and won the whole contest. Went back to sleep. Never got up till we hit the shore.
Cashed in.
Yeah, it's cashed. Y'all got all the money. They hated me. One cast. Randy, it was the luckiest day in the world. So.
My sons have a brother that guides out of Port A, and he shows on Facebook great, big, wonderful fish that they go out and catch. So, I mean, that season's coming on, and I like a guide. I own a couple of boats, but really, for a high-dollar, nice fishing boat, it's cheaper if you don't go all the time to get a guide. And they know where the fish are. They'll clean them, and you don't have to fool with the boat, put gas in it, or get bait, or do anything. So
yes, speaking of which, I was talking to a couple guys, and they wheel and deal in boats. I mean, if anyone wants to, if you want to get rid of the boat or looking for boats, I mean, just kind of reach out to us and let us know. We do what? You buy RVs, trucks, cars?
Well, I might buy a pontoon boat with an in and out of 28 foot. Belongs to a good friend of mine. His daughters have grown up and moved out of the house and got married, and he's wanting to sell this 28 foot, and it looks like new, and so I may end up buying it to resell. So, I mean, no, we buy the good, the bad, and the ugly. It don't matter. Cars, trucks, vans, equipment, boats. But we mainly, off of this show, we're trying to help people make better decisions today that'll pay off tomorrow, where you can use your quality time. My time's very important, and my quality time is very important, and I want to use it to the best.
Yeah, this guy was telling me the other day, he goes, all you care about is money. I said, no. I said, you got it wrong, buddy. I said, how much is my time worth?
Yes.
And he kind of looked at me. I said, my time is priceless to me. It's whether or not I want to do something. I'm just not going to do everything. I said, and I have a very limited amount of time on this earth. I don't know how long I'm going to make it, but I mean, you only have so many years. And the best thing to do is, like we talk about, have some fun, adventure, memories, and excitement with your family. And memories is what we're investing in when we buy these RVs, Randy. Is that not true?
Oh, yes. I remember the memories of camping out many a time, and the fun and fellowship that I had, and meeting new people that were great, and we had common interests, So you got to spend that time out and that quality time, because we're not going to get the time back. We're not going to get last week back. It's over with, And if we spend all our time, working and not getting out and enjoy it. I kept a trailer loaded, ready to go. It didn't take us 15 minutes to get packed and be going somewhere. My ex-wife would jump on the computer, find us a location, and we would take off. And quality time, quick, had a great time. My boys were growing up. They were running around enjoying themselves. And it's better than them sitting at home playing on their computer or their phone. And that's what I want. And so now, in fact, I was talking to a good friend of mine. He had an RV for 5 years, and we were talking about it. And he works at a dealership now. And I was telling him that, if somebody wanted to trade in an RV on a vehicle, that we would buy it. He said, great, Randy, because, we don't have facility to take care of it. We'd rather have it gone. So they're going to give us a call if there's somebody trying to trade one in on the car. I mentioned, I think last week, how a gentleman got deployed and he traded a vehicle RV in on a 3-month-old RV, and the dealership didn't want to give enough. I outbid the dealership who sold it to him $3,500, and I resold it right away.
Well, and here was the answer to that question earlier, Randy. What was America's #1 state park? It was Falls State Park in Tennessee. You ever heard of that place?
No. Whereabouts in Tennessee is that?
I don't know. You'd have to look it up.
Close to Nashville, or?
I don't know. I know another park that I've been to is the Great Smoky Mountains. You ever been to that park?
No, but Pigeon Forge is a good area. It's got a lot of parks.
That's the Great Smoky Mountains right over there. Yeah, and that's a good spot too. There's a lot of RV camps. I think Dollywood's got a RV park up there, and it's a pretty fancy according to one of the people I talked to. I've never actually been through there. Well, here's another thing. Let's say that I've got my RV and something goes wrong. What do I do about it mechanically, Randy? I mean, do you have any recommendations or any friends, or what would you suggest to our listeners out out there trying to overcome
I think we need to gather up some. There's a website that'll kind of coordinate everywhere in the United States where they have mobile RV guys to repair them. And so, we're going to work a little harder on that. I've got a couple of guys that I use, but I've also got my own guys that'll work on a little bit, trying to fix them and get them ready. And then, here we go again. The roof is so important to know exactly what's to do with it. I think I found the right stuff for me to use on some of my roofs. A friend of mine used to buy campers that have a little problem, and he would fix them up, and I'm going to probably see about using them similar to the same stuff that he's using, because we run across a lot of RVs and campers that have a roof problem.
Yeah, going in these hundreds of RV parks, I have ascertained a number of different mobile mechanics that are in the areas. They leave their information referred by the parks. If anyone gives us a call or reaches out on the website at RV.media, I'd be glad that just give me the area, and if I've been through there, I can give you some kind of referral reference on the mobile mechanics, because I know I've been on the side of the road with a car. I can only imagine. I don't know if you have roadside assistance on an RV, if they come, if all of a sudden something happens on there. What do you do with the air conditioner coming out?
Well, that's why you have YouTube. YouTube will show you so much, and just like we talked about, go YouTube and see if you can fix it, and also possibly get the part delivered by Amazon. They've got a good amount of parts available, and they could deliver it to the park. And I needed that help about 20 years ago, because I'd rented a motorhome, and it had so many issues, it was unbelievable. And it wasn't nothing serious, just a bunch of little inconveniences. YouTube can tell you how to fix something.
Yeah, well, check this out. So I was talking to one of our listeners, and he was contacted us on RV.media about selling his RV, and I went out there and checked it out while I climbed up on the roof. Well, he said that when him and his wife, she was going through some medical treatment, they had the RV parked at the hospital, and they were feeding all these birds. And I was like, oh, okay. And he said, the birds landed on top of the RV, and their little claws put holes in the roof. He said, so when he was driving down from Idaho, those little bitty holes in 70 mile an hour, 55, 60 mile an hour highway winds, he said the whole thing, all of a sudden he looked in his rearview mirror, it looked like a hot air balloon was bubbled up on the back of his RV. He said it took the whole freaking roof and ripped the darn thing off. He said it all started with a little bitty bird.
Wow.
Can you believe that? So I was like, how did you ever fix that? He said, well, first thing he did was pulled over, cut it with a knife. He said, made it sure it wouldn't go up, and used some, what is that stuff called, that Grace? Duct tape.
Yep.
He said, he goes, there's a million uses for that. So this guy was like, I don't know, he's an older guy, we'll just put it that way, Randy. And he said it was the most insane thing, and it's a good thing he caught that. But how would you ever know that you have little bitty holes in your RV? So one of the things people need to do is, preventive maintenance, check out their RVs, get up on that roof and have it resealed and all that stuff. But that was the craziest, not the craziest, but one of the craziest things I've heard of all week there, Randy.
We were coming back from a camping trip, and we had a blowout, and I didn't have a jack, and I couldn't believe it. But it was one of those campers I'd bought, and next week we're going camping, so we got it ready, we thought, and we never checked to see if there was a jack. Did have, I had ways of getting the tire off. So I pulled up on a curb to get the weight off of it, and I changed and put some 2x2s underneath, 2x4s underneath the front wheel, and I took the back wheel off. So without a jack, I made it work, and I've got us back on the road.
Oh, so you MacGyvered it a little bit, just moved it a little bit up.
I put it on the curb on the side of the road. There was a cement curb, so I put it up on top of there, rolled over a 2x4 to get it up another 2 inches, took the wheel and tire off, put the other one back on, and stopped at the next town and bought a tire for that wheel.
Oh, wow. Speaking of that, you recalled my memory there, Randy. That's amazing. I was on this long RV trip. I was heading up to the north side of Dallas. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, safety. Check your tires out. Check the little compartments. Make sure they're locked. Do the walk around at the gas station. I get all the way up just north of Dallas, and I'm exiting to go to this RV park. And next thing you know, I hit my brakes, and the road kind of bumped like a wave. The whole freaking RV flew off the back of the truck, slammed into the back of my truck bed, and laid down on the ground and started spinning sideways. But I had safety chains and everything. I pull over. Thank God I was only doing like 30 mile an hour. I pull over, and there's this concrete road that goes back to some kind of cement plant, like about a mile. So I pull down that road, and all of a sudden I get out of the truck. Well, you know what I did? Okay, so on an RV, a standard size ball is 2 5/16. Well, I had one of those triple ball things or whatever. I stuck the 2-inch ball underneath there and didn't double check. The safety pin was in and everything, but it was only a 2-inch ball. Because I was like, how did that thing just fly off of there? I thought I hit a bump or something. No, it was stupid, dumb me. And ever since that day, Randy, you know what I've always checked? What size is the ball that's in there?
I do that first.
Can you imagine if me going 70 mile an hour if it flew off of the RV? Flew off of the truck?
Well, I'll tell you a little story. We had a trailer. We were going to pick up a 32 Ford coupe I'd bought in Cuero, Texas. And the guy working for me, I said, put a ball on this truck and we'll take the trailer and we'll go get that 32 coupe down in Cuero, Texas. So anyway, that beginning of, they would have a ball that had the big bolt that goes into the ball from the bottom. Well, it had a lock washer and he didn't think we needed it, so he didn't put it on there. So we're going down this country road and I look at him and he is all freaking out and he looks to my left. He said, look over there. And our trailer was passing us. And what had happened when we finally went off in a ditch, luckily we could get to it, but it could have been a disaster. But anyway, I said, we go back and we find the ball, we find the bolt. The ball was still in the hitch, but the bolt was back about a mile. So we find it and I said, we can't find the lock washer. He said, well, I didn't use it. I didn't think we needed it. I said, well, that's why it came loose, because it took that lock washer to keep it tight. So we've all had a little excuse. I had a tow car of mine pulling behind a truck and it came loose, but it hit a bump and the tow bar went down and pushed it out in the ditch. Man, I've been blessed to miss a couple of things when it comes to towing. That's why I like checking. Well, maybe that's why some people like renting RVs and renting cottages. They don't have to worry about that hassle getting to and from. I like the short trip.
Yeah, and one of the things, in buying and wheeling and dealing RVs all these years, I talk to the people and it's like, well, why are you selling it? And some of the guys, they go, it's too big, and they start shaking, Randy. And I didn't really understand what they were talking about until I hooked up to a 45-foot toy hauler fifth wheel and started heading down the road and going, high-speed interstate speeds, and there all this construction. You're like 2 inches from these concrete barriers. I was like, oh, that's what those guys are talking about. It was just me in the car and maybe my dog. And but if you got your family and kid and all that safety and all that stuff, man, I tell you what, just if you're out there on the road, just be careful on there. But we want to talk about the good things about RVing.
I had a Freightliner 45-foot with a 32-foot stacker trailer that I went to antique car auctions at. And we traveled all over the country. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it had a bathroom. I didn't have to stop at the truck stop. But it was a 45-foot Freightliner diesel 10-speed Cummins, and it would go down the road. And man, hey, now that's a train. You drive 45 foot in a 32-foot trailer. That's a long train I had.
Well, Randy, we're coming up. We got just some time left here. So we've gone over places to go, mechanical things, trips, and a lot of fun.
I talked to a gentleman yesterday about. I'm telling all the new car dealers, if somebody's got an RV to trade, that we would buy it on a new car, new truck, or something. And he said, I just bought one. And I said, you did? And he said, yeah. And it's a 25-foot Grand Vitara. I said, wow, what are you going to do with it? And he said, well, let my son live in it. He said he's going to college in San Marcos. I've checked rent over there, and I'd be better off with what I paid for this RV to park it somewhere and let him live in it for 4 years instead of paying the high rent. He said, I found a spot out that's $400 a month, and he said, I'll just park it there. And so we discussed a few things about what he needs to do about, taking care of it and maintenance it and what he can do to make it last with no problems the next 4 years. So his son is all excited that he's going to have a place to stay at Texas State. So, there's a lot of options. There's a lady that delivers parts to me. She just came in from Colorado. She's from Arizona. She's living here. She works for O'Reilly's, and they deliver parts to me. And she's living in a camper, and she's thrilled. You ready for this? She's got 8 kids. Yeah, they're all grown. They're not living with her. But when she told me she had 8 kids, I said, well, I hope they're all grown and moved out. She said, oh, yeah, they are. I didn't think she was that old, but she is.
Well, here's another thing, too, Randy. Once they get the RV and they start on the journey, it's like, what do you do and how do you navigate it? And these phones are great. There's a whole bunch of RV-related apps out there, Randy, that I've aggregated the data on. It's on our website, RV.media. And you can go check it out. Click right there in the little little menu bar where it says apps and open it up. It's got exit, interstate signs. It's got different spots for boat ramps. One thing I learned driving around, Randy, is if you get a boat ramp app for all the boat ramps in the United States, that's a good place to go park and have lunch if you're on the road with your RV, because the boats are real long like the RVs.
I've never thought of that. That's an excellent idea. I know several places at Canyon Lake that would work. You're not supposed to camp overnight there, but you can sure camp.
Well, what I did was
till it gets dark anyway.
Instead of eating in the Walmart parking lot, I saw a boat ramp by this Walmart in Arkansas, and I went in there and I said, I wonder if I could go down there. I pulled down there and it had parking, so I parked my RV there. There was benches. I was right by the river. I had lunch, cooked me out some. I mean, I was like, this is unbelievable. It was free. And because I was like, that's a great idea. So I downloaded an app for that. Also, another thing, where do you dump your RVs? There's RV dump app, then also where you go. There's different apps about traveling, the speed limits, RV parks to go, overnight stays, like at there's a couple restaurants nationwide that'll let you stay in there. You got to give the restaurant owners a heads up, but you can spend the night in there and do some free camping. I mean, you're spending enough on the fuel, you might as well figure out a way to spend the night free, right, Randy? I think that's great. Up and coming, we're going to have some more guests on with different manufacturers. I guess our buddy, he's out there at Big Ben. I guess he never got no cell service. So have you ever been out to Big Ben, Randy?
No, I haven't. I need to go. That's one place I guess I need to buy me a camper, take off and go out there, spend about.
Maybe you should buy one of those Newells from that the guy we had on last week.
2.2 million?
2.5.
Oh,
and if you customize it, you can get, just think about it, you can get a thing to carry one of your street rods in the bag of it with a matching trailer, Randy, and just go around and do live broadcasts from all over the country.
Now, I've had stacker trailers, like I mentioned, so I've traveled many a time all over the country and in a motor home and towed campers around with me, and we got to work on that. I hope we get enough opportunity to really open people's eyes to what is out there, because you brought some stuff up that I didn't even know about.
Well, the first word in our little anagram thing is fun, Randy.
That's it.
And adventure, make the memories, and enjoy it and be exciting. FAME. That's kind of like the motto. Of course, you're already a famous guy, Randy. You're known all over in the area. And it's just little me traveling to the RV parks. Keep tuning in to us each and every week. We're going to have different guests, different services provided, and different locations displayed on the website, RV.media. And give us a call at any time if you want to get rid of your RV, right, Randy?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Your RV. And like you say, your towable unit behind your RV if you don't need it, or your truck if you're going to go to a motorhome. Like I said, I think last week I mentioned there was that couple that were working out there with 3 kids in an RV that were going to New Zealand. So if you're going to change areas or time, or jobs, give us a call. We'll buy what you have available.
What's your number there, Randy?
830-708-4789. And what about RV.media?
You go to that website, or you can give me a call, 4242 RV Info. Anytime you can text pictures and videos. I will drive out. I'm going up to Waco later this week to look at a big fifth wheel this guy has. It's a 2020 model. He wants me to come check it out. It's supposed to be really nice. If it's as described, we're going to cut the guy a check, and we'll be toting that one home, finding it a new home anytime, anywhere. You can reach out to us, and we'll provide that service.
Well, we were in San Marcos last weekend and made a deal on one, and they're waiting for the title to come from the bank. That we'll go over there and pay them and pick it up, and we have it sold. And so give us an opportunity if you don't need it anymore, and you can call me anytime, 830-708-4789. I buy the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, don't forget to tune in next week. We're going to have a lot of interesting things to talk about, and send us your request at info@rv.media. Maybe you come up with an idea, maybe we'll put it on the show.
Thank you, listeners. God bless you. Thank you, Jason. Great information today. Hello, I'm Randy Adams of LearnToBuyAndSellCars.com on radio and YouTube, Randy Adams Inc. I want to teach you the good, the bad, and the ugly about the car business. You need to know, because you ever been in debtor's prison on a vehicle that loses money and loses value every day? and you're in debtor's prison for 10 years on a car loan. That's what they're talking about now. We had all these 7-year loans going on 0 interest rate, that people had to run in there and buy a car and pay too much money because they got a little old 0 interest rate. You know, you're walking in on a professional football team. We need to put you on an even playing field, because let me tell you, we keep score with your money. That's right. We win all the time. You lose all the time. We got coaches, we got owners, we got salespeople, we got backup people. We got a game plan. You don't have a game plan. Well, I want to teach you a game plan. I want you to know the good, the bad, and the ugly, the violation, what's going on in the car business. YouTube's giving this opportunity, and that's randyadamsinc.com, for you to learn and grow and be the best you can be. I want to be your mentor. I want to be there. I want to give you options. I want you to think outside the box, because you can be the best you can be. I'll even give my phone number out. You can give me a call anytime, 830-708-4789. I buy the good, the bad, and the ugly. I know the difference, and I want to teach you. Thank you for visiting our website, learntobuyandsellcars.com.